Live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Translators on Air. My name is Dmitry Kornyukhov. I'm your host. Joining me tonight, my incredible co-host, Elena Tereshchenkova. Hi, Elena.
Hi, guys.
And our guest, Sheila Gomes. Hi, Sheila.
Hello.
Sheila is a translator of Brazilian Portuguese and English, and she has been working in this industry for more than 10 years. And she's specializing in app localization and video game localization. And she's also a very active user of OmegaT. It's a CAT tool for translators. It's an open source CAT tool. And this is going to be the topic of our conversation today. But before we jump to our conversation, as always, a few announcements. The second season of Translators on Air has been sponsored by our friends at SmearCat. They develop translation technology for translators, and they offer it absolutely for free. If you want to check them out, there is a green button below this video. If you're watching this live on Crowdcast, that says check out SmartCat, the free translation platform. Or if you're watching this in the recording, you can always click on the first link in the description of this video. I can see that we have quite a few new faces today with us. Let me just go over some features of this webinar software that they're using. This is a platform called Crowdcast. If you have any questions about the topic of our conversation or would like to ask additional questions or suggest topics, there is an orange button below this video that says ask a question or suggest a topic. Just click it and type your question, and Sheila, Elena, and I will be more than happy to discuss this topic and answer a question. Or you can use a chat window on the right-hand side and say hi and communicate with your friends and colleagues. One last thing, these webinars are best enjoyed with friends and colleagues. So if you can, just please go to Twitter or Facebook and share the recording of this webinar and invite your friends and colleagues to join us so we could have a nice, lively conversation. Thank you so much in advance. All right, Sheila, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you guys?
Great.
We are good. Yeah, good. I think we're gonna have summer again in Toronto because it's around 17 degrees here.
Wow.
It's crazy.
We've got winter in Russia already. It's -3 or 4, I think, and we've got snow already.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
but it's kind of warm.
Well, they say that's our winter gonna start in a couple of weeks, and we're gonna be covered in snow. So I guess this is the last sunny days we have here. Sheila, can you please introduce yourself, tell us a few things about yourself, your experience, and how you got into this profession?
Mm-hmm. All right. So I've been a translator for quite some time, and I started doing it because my family had a languages school where I taught at first and then started translating, and at the same time, and then just gave up teaching to dedicate myself only to translating. And I also started using OmegaT because of this teaching that I did at the time, and I knew this company that was looking for translators, and I wanted to change a bit my schedule, mainly because it was very hectic. I had to run all over the place all day long, and I wanted to do something different. And I started working in this company that presented me with CAT tools, and then that's how I also started using OmegaT. And nowadays I work mainly with the translation, the localization of websites, software, and games.
Interesting. And what is OmegaT exactly? Is it a CAT tool or is it project management tool? What kind of functionality does it have?
So OmegaT is a CAT tool that was made by programmers that are also translators 16 years ago. And but the project manager is manager because he's a developer, but not the main developer at the time. Is Gabriel, and the team is actually spread out over the world, and it's a very interesting too, because it's based on it's free software and open source software, which is kind of a philosophy more than only development methodology. And I've been using it for over 6 years, and it's my main and preferred cat tool for a number of reasons. Not only because it's free, but because it's a great tool, and it really gives me everything I need to translate professionally and consistently as we expect of any cat tool in the market.
You mentioned that OmegaT is an open source tool, and you also said that it's more of a philosophy than methodology. Could you please tell us a few words about it?
Sure. So there is this movement in the programming area. I'm not a specialist, I have to tell you. I'm just interested reader and user, and I use a lot of free software because I believe in the philosophy behind it, which is making software free for everybody to be able to learn how to use and to code and to spread technology and development of software over the world. And just by using you are already helping these projects grow. And actually many of the software that is used nowadays, from Facebook to Dropbox to software used by governments like United States and other countries as well, are based on open source. Mm-hmm. The idea is that the software is open for people to modify it, distribute it, and even build on it. Mm-hmm. The difference between OmegaT and other tools that are only open source but not free is that it's also available for anyone that wants to use it, and you don't have to pay for it, and you can modify it and even add things to it. And there are some open source software that is paid. It's open, but it can be modified or used or distributed in a limited way.
Is there then some kind of donations for supporting this tool and the its development?
Yes, actually, because of this interview today, I was reading a bit about what's new in the area, and I came to this very good document, which I will make the link available later, that talks about how few people really contribute to the open source initiatives in general. And nowadays, there are even some things that are the base of our society, technologically speaking, like, for example, what comes to mind, OpenSSL, which is the encrypting library that is used for many companies for use of credit cards and passwords and this kind of thing. And not so long ago, it was maintained by only one person, one programmer who dedicated his time to this project, and he didn't even earn enough to dedicate time to that. And if you heard of Heartbleed, it was a bug that was in OpenSSL a while ago. People were very angry because things started problems show, and but other people saw only then how it was being kept and how much money it needed to go on. And that's why, for example, today I try to use as much free software as I can to know how it works and everything, but I also donate as much as I can as well, and I've done that for OmegaT. And I suggest that if people want to use it, please feel free to use it as much as you want, need, and can, and spread the word. And also, if you may donate to make the initiative grow and get it even better.
I think we should probably put a link to their donation page after we have a recording of this.
Yeah, sure. We'll include it into the show notes as well.
For those who are interested in supporting free software. So you say that OmegaT is completely non-profit, right? It's free and there's no paid model at all.
As any open source, you can like build upon it and even have something that is sold from the code. And there are people that get money out of it because also of the work they have contributed so far, like giving courses and selling books and things like this. But the tooling in itself is a non-profitable part of a non-profit project. It's not paid.
You also mentioned that people can actually build on open source software. Are there then some plugins for OmegaT created by other people? It's just...
Yes, there are many plugins, and people are developing different things all the time. And like one of the things that was developed quite a while ago, and I discovered not like this year, is the external finder plugin, which puts inside the tool a way for you to open sites on the internet to make searches on words that you are translating at that time, similar to what the IntelliWeb search software does. You can do it from within OmegaT, and it's very practical. Don't have to fall into the grasp of Facebook or whatever that I usually do when I open the internet to search for anything. So I just go straight to the sites where I want to.
So you don't have to open a web browser. You can search right within within OmegaT.
It opens the web browser, but only the sites that you choose from a menu that you open inside the editor of the.
Yeah, that sounds like a great feature.
It is.
It's good for researching terminology when you're working on a project, right?
Yes, exactly. You can search on the computer as well. Like if you have any kind of dictionaries and glossaries or any kind of stuff, you can search in the computer from this plugin or from the search function of OmegaT itself.
Very interesting. But we probably should start talking about how OmegaT works and what are the system requirements for using this CAT tool.
So OmegaT is very democratic because it works in all platforms, be it Windows or Mac or Linux. I've even heard of people, programmers, of course, that made it possible to use it in Android-based devices. As long as you have Java in your device, computer, you can use it. And the requirements really are not very high. You don't need much memory. The thing is that the more memory you have, the bigger the memories, the translation memories you can use, for example, and less time it will take the segments to load or the searches to be made and this kind of thing. But it's not demanding at all. A really light program.
And I think we should also add that OmegaT runs on Mac. For all you Mac users out there who are looking for software and a free software at that, I think it's also important because a lot of, for example, Trados and some other CAT tools that we hear a lot about are not supported on Mac OS, and OmegaT can run on a Mac.
And one thing that is good for people that are not using CAT tools yet, and they want to know them a bit before investing maybe a lot of money in a tool that they don't know how to use, is that OmegaT is free, and you may even like it so much that you don't need to change to another tool, but it's a very good entry tool. And nowadays is actually my main one and my preferred one. Even though I have a paid license for MemoQ, for example, I prefer to use OmegaT. Very minimalistic and very easy to learn how to. And I've just seen that EA is here. Oh my God! Now I am nervous. Project manager of the project of OmegaT.
Awesome. Welcome. How often do they release new updates and develop new features for OmegaT? Is it still ongoing?
Yes, all the time actually. When I started using it, it was in version 1.6, and nowadays it's 4.0.1. And in the last year, for example, I could see new versions being launched like every 2 or 3 weeks. And people are really devoting it's now they can dedicate more time to making the tool better, and also more people are using. Like this month, we had a record download number on, and the more people use it, more they will give suggestions for the developers to make it better, and they apply the suggestions all the time. Also, there is a group, a Yahoo group, where people can send questions to, and the developers are present there all the time, so the questions are answered very quickly, and all the information that is gathered, they will take advantage to improve the program very soon.
So they also have a support system of sorts, right?
Exactly, and it really works. We don't have to wait long for an answer. Sometimes less than some paid tools give answers to questions of users.
That's great. It's great that they're developing free software and offering it absolutely for free, but it is also awesome that they actually continue to contributing in terms of development, and they also spend time on support, which is, in my opinion, support is very important when you are using the software, because not all of us are very tech savvy. I'm not tech savvy, so I often run into troubles when using various software, and support is the most crucial factor for me when using something.
Yes, there is a very active community around this group, both the developers group and the open group for users.
So the users can also answer questions, right, and help each other out.
Yes, and we have 2 Facebook groups, pages actually, one in Portuguese and another in English, that we try to keep as active as possible. And any questions people have, I am responsible for the Portuguese group. I opened the English page as well, but I'm more active in the Portuguese one, and I answer questions in less than 24 hours. Always, I have like this. I try to follow it very frequently.
So the support is provided via Facebook page, right?
Via Facebook page, but mainly the Yahoo group, because the Yahoo group integrated by the developers too, and more users, and so the questions there will be answered with by more people, and the chance that you get your answer correctly and fast is greater there.
Is there any way to send a question from within the software's interface? Like maybe there is a menu or button or something like that?
From inside the software? Not yet. Okay. You can send only by the
suggestion then.
Unless it's being developed, but the last version, it's an offline tool, and not depending on the internet, but maybe it's something that will come in the future.
Because I mean, it's much easier to just press a button in software rather than always keep the names of those groups in mind and go to Facebook. And if you go to Facebook, it's very distracting. you might end up spending half an hour watching baby pictures and cat videos. And then you remember, oh man, I'm here to ask a question about software.
Yes, or I do that all the time. But if you subscribe to the list, the Yahoo list, you can receive it in your email client, and even make questions directly from the email client, and so you don't really have to open the browser unless your email client is already there. But here not to get lost.
I can imagine that the developers team is pretty international, but do they have a headquarters somewhere or a base, or where do the majority of the developers come from? I'm just curious.
There are people in Europe, there are people in Japan, and so they are really spread all over. And as far as I know, there is no like a physical headquarters, and they are like us translators that work from their place and just get together over the internet.
But that's probably a great advantage in terms of providing support, because when someone in Europe is asleep, then someone in Japan is already working, or someone in the US still working.
Yes.
So,
and in the support group is very, there are a lot of people, and you can even make questions in your own language if you prefer, if it's easier for you to get the answer, actually, because sometimes we can make the question in English, for example, but not always it's so clear if the answer comes in English and you have to do something a little bit technical, for example. It's always better if you get it in your own language. We know.
Yeah, that's pretty handy.
Yeah.
How does OmegaT compare to other CAT tools?
I guess it's like pretty much the same. Everything you can do in the tools in the market right now. I couldn't say for the latest versions because I haven't used, for example, Trados like the latest ones or other tools, but I've had a bit of experience in most of the famous tools in the market, and I can say that it does the same, faster. And there are even people like Corinne McKay from the United States that she says, and I think it's true because I've seen it, the algorithm to find concordances in the translation memories is much better in OmegaT than in Trados, for example. And maybe because it's minimalistic, and so the resources are used to the best advantage of the translator, and Trados has integrated so many functions during the years that maybe sometimes it can get in the way of getting results faster, for example. Of course, I can't really say that, but I believe from a non-technical perspective that it has too many bells and whistles, and OmegaT doesn't have that, for example.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, I use MemaQ for the most part of my translation work, and I barely use maybe 10% of the software.
Yeah. It's the same with me. I have MemaQ that I have a paid license because I work with an agency that sent me a lot of work, and it was worth it. But it's like you said, I use maybe 10% of what the tool offer because it's much easier to start a project and keep the memories and open and maintain glossaries in OmegaT, and you have the dictionary right in the same pane, for example, that you are working. So everything is much straightforward, more straightforward than even MemoQ, that is a very good tool, one of the best in the market nowadays.
I wonder if it's connected with the fact that OmegaT is, like you said, open source, and the users can say what they want and what features they would like to have, and then the developers, all they have to do is just listen to the users and integrate those features, and don't have to spend time on integrating something that translators won't actually use.
Yes, there is a section. The program can be downloaded in SourceForge, and there is a section there only for feature requests, and people can add whatever they feel like is missing in the tool, or that they would like to have to help their work in general. And actually, I have read an interview with Gabriel some time ago that he said that the tool is made for a translator that wants the best out of what a tool can offer. And so they are always working to make it more straightforward, more useful, easier, and fast. really.
Yeah, I mean, it's great when developers are actually actively listening to the needs of their community. I think it's the best way to develop software, by listening to people and implementing what they need the most. And I think that the majority of large software companies in the capital field, I think they're mostly focused on corporate clients, like translation agencies who have these big and complex localization processes.
Yeah.
Do you think OmegaT also suitable for companies, or it's just for individual translators?
No, it's very actually nowadays there are companies that use OmegaT as their main tool, like We Localize, it's an agency that uses it. And because of it being free and giving support to a great number of languages and being very easy to use, and also having the team feature that is very easy to implement as well, it's ideal for an agency that wants to work using a solution that is based on the same principles that most of the great companies use nowadays, that using open source software will get together not only good users, but also good developers, because everything is based on it. So the idea is that it is spreading really, really fast. And I believe support for it from agencies and other companies is only growing. The company where I worked, where I started using OmegaT, still uses it, and it's a software company. And I know others that are going there too. I believe it will be very popular not very long.
Interesting. I wonder, what do you think about online cat tools like the Smart Cat and other cat tools that provide cloud solutions? How does it compare to those tools?
So usually the online cat tools, because they depend on the internet, and on the internet with good and not a reality all over the world. I can tell from where I live, for example, and I live in a big city in the south of Brazil that I have fiber internet in my house, for example, but this is not something common here. It's really, really difficult to find. And so usually these cat tools are not they don't have many functionalities, many resources that are the same as the offline tools. And so you don't take advantage of what you get from your work throughout the years. And usually when I have to work on an online tool, I export the file, translate it in OmegaT, and then put it back. And if I can't do it from the tool itself, I just copy it and then use some extra tool like AutoHotkey or something like that to help insert back the translation. But I use, for example, MemSource that I like. It's very easy to use and very fast and similar to MemoQ. But same thing. If the file is bigger, I prefer to export it and translate on my preferred to.
Yeah, I think it's all just a matter of your preference. I mean, sometimes you're so used to one single tool that anything else is you don't want to use it, even if it's better.
Yeah, I always say that the best tool is the one that you know how to use, because then it's the best for you. Yeah, and if you get to know an online tool that you use a lot and you know how it works from in and out, then it will be the best tool for you. Yeah. And
I also think that it sometimes depends on the kind of projects you work on, because I use mainly online tools, and I would say that for my purposes, it's enough. So, but yes. I do want to try OmegaT after you told about.
We should.
Yeah.
I think it's always a good idea to learn how to use different tools.
Exactly.
Because sometimes there are some features that in one tool they are, I don't know, easier to use, and then you can even suggest to the OmegaT team to implement it in the future or something like that, where you discover things, new points of view on how to do it. But I use daily online translation tools, and I believe that the advantage of working with teams is clear, and so it ends up being the best choice in those cases.
Yeah, when I work with, sorry, Elena.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that when I work with software, my main concern is speed and ease of use, and of course the level of customer support. So it applies both to CAT tools and any other software that I'm using as a developer myself of the OpenMic. So the easier it is for me to use, the higher the chances that I'll come back and I would recommend the tool to other people.
Exactly. It's the same with me. I'd rather have something that even don't have everything I need, but it's easier and straightforward, and I don't need to stay a whole day just using the menu and trying to start using it.
Yeah, I think simplicity often overlooked in the software world of translation industry. I mean, we have a lot of software developed for translators, but it's not easy to get into it.
Yeah, it's like they lack an intelligent design for people to work with it more intuitively. And I think this is general in software. It's very rare that you find something that it's easy to use at first glance. Maybe the new apps, the online apps that are coming now, they are using more of this approach. I see some software that I like, and I believe are very intuitive and easy to use, fast and everything. But they are getting ever more specialized also. And so I have, I don't know, 20 tools that I use for 20 different things that sometimes they could be like one piece of software. But I prefer to have them working well.
Elena, you had a question. I had interrupted you.
I actually wanted to go to our next question, which is, what are the main advantages of OmegaT? You have already mentioned some of them. Probably we could just summarize them. And if there are anything else you'd like to add, please go ahead.
Okay. The main advantages, well, yes, there are some comments here that it's free.
From Ronnie.
Segments, and added the final request feature to correct editor. This is for it to begin with. It's free as an advantage. It's not the most important thing to me. So much so that I had the paid license for another tool, and I didn't renew. And I prefer to donate to OmegaT the same amount that I would renew the other for new features, because I see the new features that they apply all the time, and it's very fast. As I said, the search functions are very easy to use and very broad. You can search on your computer, on your TMs, on your glossaries. You can add dictionaries. This is something that you don't have in many tools. Actually, the only one I know that I thought this working was MemoQ, but it's not the same as OmegaT, because OmegaT is all together. You have the editor pane, and all the windows are organized according to how you want to better use them. And the dictionary is one of them, and so it's always visible. And now they have also included some, like the predictive typing that we have in some tools. We also have now OmegaT, and they uses the resources of the terminology that we apply to the projects. We can get words from that we are already using. And what else?
May interrupt you really quickly. That means that it actually would make sense to use OmegaT for more creative projects, right? Because if you have a glossary or if you have used a certain term, then with this predictive typing, it would increase the speed of translation theoretically, right?
It really increases the speed. Yes, for sure. And I use it for all kinds of translations, from creative to more technical, and according to the workflow that you prefer to use, being it technical or more creative, you can change the segmentation. You can change the way that the concordance, the searches of the translation memories will appear, and how you want the glossary to work with you. You just, tweak a few things, and the environment makes it very easy and fast to use. And I've recorded some videos about this from previous versions that don't have all the features that the new version has, but there's two actually new videos from Dominique Pivat, the cat guru. He just added it to YouTube, and it shows a little bit of what the new version offers. Something that it didn't offer before, for example, was the drag and drop for files that you want to translate, and translation memories you want to add to the project, glossaries you want to add to the project. So they make it very easy and very practical. Every time I know that there is a new version, I know I can expect the two to be even more streamlined, to streamline my project.
The reason I asked this question is because as someone working mainly with marketing texts, well, the CAT tools I use are not really useful for creative texts, but I can see how this predictive typing feature could improve the workflow and the speed. That's interesting.
Yeah, to be honest, I never get around to use predictive typing. I mean, I use OmegaQ, and OmegaQ they have predictive typing, I think. But for some reason, I have never tried it. I don't know. Just like I said, there are a lot of functionality in modern day CAT tools, and most translators, they just stick to their own workflow. So my workflow is simple. I create a project, I add a translation memory, create a glossary, and then I just translate. I just enjoy translating. Maybe it takes me more time to type everything, but at least I don't know. I don't spend too much. I thought that if I would enable predictive typing, I would be too distracted just by constantly checking in my brain if the match of this predictive typing is accurate to what I was going to say. Yeah, I haven't got around to trying it and to see if this predictive typing is actually comes straight from my brain and always correct. Yeah, maybe I should.
I think we're all different.
Maybe I should give it a try.
Kind of distracting in the beginning because you are typing and then pops a window. Not pops. It's like a
drop down menu.
Yes. And so you get a little distracted, but with the time you get used to it, and it comes up with good suggestions because you created the
of course,
terminology, and so you can improve on it even. And one thing, for example, that I had difficulty with when I started using was dictating to the tool. Something like when you use Dragon naturally speaking, but we don't have Dragon in Portuguese, so we have to use like a kind of a different shortcut to do that. But it's hard because you have to make the sentence in your mind before dictating, or else you are going to break it. And it's kind of a process that you have to develop with time and get the habit, and then how useful it could be and how faster you can type and finish your translation.
Yeah. Another question: can you use machine translation in OmegaT?
Yes, you can. You have a number of different engines engines that you have available inside the tool. Some of them are paid, like Google Translate, because it's an API and it's paid by the use. But others are free, and you can just enable or disable according to what you prefer. Sometimes I like to use it because I have this tendency of typing too fast and, like switching letters and making mistakes because of the typing. And so I will use, if it's a very easy text and I know that the words are just something that won't probably have to go very far to translate, I use machine translation. And so it's another feature that for many people may be interesting, although I understand that it's not something that should be advised. Use machine translation, but it's a tool as any other that, if well used, can render good results by a professional translator.
There is a question from Fabio in the chat window. Will these engines collect my translation in order to enhance their translation results? Yeah, I think they will.
Yes, they are public, yeah, but I'm not sure how they work inside the tool. But as far as I know, yes, they will get your whatever you put there. Yeah, that's why sometimes it's maybe a good idea to invest in an offline tool. There are machine translation offline tools that you can.
Although Didier says in his next comment that the translation is never sent back. I don't know how it works, so I cannot answer that question. Unfortunately, I'm not a developer, but I think
maybe I didn't understand the question correctly. Maybe he was trying to say that what he uses is sent back, but not what the original segment. Is that what you wanted to know? And if Didier could just tell us if the original segment is sent to the machine translation engines?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, because then it could be a problem of confidentiality, yeah, depending on the kind of text you're working on.
Yeah, well, that's the yeah.
Yeah, the source segment is sent, but not the translation of the user. Yeah, that's what I understand now.
Interesting. Let's move on to another question that we have here in question sections. Let's now talk about the main disadvantages of OmegaT, if you could think of any that are crucial.
Well, someone put it here that it doesn't have all bells and whistles as other cat tools, but actually it has a lot under the hood that is maybe not seen by a user that doesn't really check it out with attention, because it has a lot of the features that the major cat tools have. I would go as far as everything that I can do in MemoQ, for example, I can do in OmegaT, if not in exactly the same way, but it's everything there. I really can't see disadvantages at this point. I may be suspect to say that, but that's how I feel. They're really good.
And the main disadvantage is just too good to be true. and not a lot of people are using it.
Yeah, why do you think? Please.
Why do you think is that? Why not a lot of people are using such a great and free tool?
It's the kind of thing that people have towards free software. They don't think it's good because it's free and because there's no support and this kind of thing. And it's so not that. It's a very strong tool, very stable, and the support is great, even though it's not official, but it's there and available. And I've used it a number of times, and so I've seen for myself as a user. And there are people that even declare that on the internet in translators groups. I have seen this, that because it's free, it must not be very good and this kind of thing. But no, no way. It's really maybe
prejudices.
Different one. Sorry?
They are probably just prejudiced against free software.
Yes, I guess so. And sometimes people have used the like an older version, and it didn't have everything that like other cat tools have now, and because it grew so much in such a short time, many people don't know how good is it now and how much it can do.
And another reason that comes to mind is that some agencies require the use of some particular software, some particular cat tools. So if I were to buy some cat tool to work with a particular agency, then I would probably use it for other projects as well.
So I bought, as I said,
although you proved me wrong.
No, but the thing is, I bought this tool because they work on a server, and so there was no way out of it. If I have it, I have to have it. That's how servers work. But I only use for this work and nothing else. Everything that I want to work on in the best way possible, I will use OmegaT to do. Yeah, and so it's as we were saying before, the best tool is the tool that you know best.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder how compatible it is with the other cat tools. Is it easy to import, export files and prepare them for other cat tools? For example, a lot of translators, they kind of had to work with big software tools like MemaQ or Trados, where their clients, translation companies, most of the time they send packages prepared in the format of this software, for example, in a specific, and they have specific file extensions. How does OmegaT handles that? Is there a workaround, a way to import translations from Trados or MemaQ and then export them back into these tools?
So it all depends on how the package was made, for example, and you can always ask for the agency to send you not the package, but the different parts of the project separate, and because the translation memory is interoperable, you can use TMX formats, for example, both in Trados and MOQ and OmegaT, and different kinds of glossary extensions as well, like TBX or TXT, and they will work in OmegaT. And OmegaT has filters for some kinds of other translation extensions, tools, extensions like WordFast, for example, and tag editor and this kind of thing. But as I said, it depends on how the project was made. It's not always that you can extract and send back exactly the way it was, unless you use a third-party tool like Rainbow or something like that, and then you would have to learn how to use this other tool. But in general, I have worked with OmegaT as my main tool, and I've never had problems with agencies because they demanded the use of this or that tool. I always explain, I know how to use my tool. If you send this, this, and this, I can do the work and send it back exactly the way you sent it to me. And so it's more a matter of knowing what you can work with, and but the tool gives the possibility of working with a great number of different files.
So you say that your clients they don't mind going an extra mile and changing the file format so you could work in OmegaT.
Yes, it's not all of them, of course. There are some that they okay, you don't work with Trados, so forget it, and that's okay. I actually, for me, this is kind of even a way of selecting the agency I want to work with. If they can even talk at the same level with the translator, that the provider that gives the work that they need, and work a little bit on their sides, because this is what they are getting their money from. Creating the environment possible for the client not to worry about, but the process and receiving their translation in the best quality and deadline and everything possible, and for the translator to do what we do best, translate. Yeah. And so receive what we need with the tools that we work better with.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just that sometimes there are, I don't know, maybe there are inexperienced project managers who simply don't know how to change file formats or how to export the translation memory. And I'm just speculating here, but from my personal experiences, there are a lot of agencies who would just say, "Yep, we only work with traders. We only can send you a package. We don't want to do the extra work of importing, exporting translation memory in TMX format." So, yeah, and like you said, you're absolutely correct. It's all about creating an environment where everyone could work and just focus on what they do best. And if a client is not willing to go towards creating this environment, it's a good idea to maybe start thinking about firing your client.
Yes, of course. There are times that you can't do that, and you have to do some things that you are not so eager to. And I've learned to use a lot of different tools. But in this case, when they demanded I use some specific tool, I would say, okay, so give me a temporary license or something, because I don't have. Otherwise, I can't do it. I won't buy some program just because you are willing to give me work, you know. And it's not like that. It's not like you will hire a salesperson, for example, tell them to get their car and their gas to go around town selling your product, and you don't even pay for that. You have to give the conditions for us to work.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We have one last question from one of our viewers. Yelena, do you want to read it?
Yeah. Fabio asks, how can I add a TM glossary, dictionary, etc. to my project?
I am reading the comments here. I guess they kind of answered in a way, but there are different answers to this. When you open a project, the software will create a number of folders automatically, and you can work in these folders in any way you prefer. And I prefer, for example, to have a centralized folder where I put all my dictionaries and glossaries and translation memories, and separated by in their respective folders, of course. And every time I open a new project, I point the program to those folders. And so when I create a new translation memory, I will copy it to the TM folder. When I find a new glossary or I create a glossary, I'll copy it to the glossary folder. And I point the project to that folder every time I open a new one. And this is my way of working with it. And in that video that I talked about, the Dominique Pivar recorded, he shows this a little bit, where you put the dictionary, glossary in one way. Yeah, and it's really easy. It's simple. It's not something that you have to take like 15 steps.
Sheila,
Could you send us the links
the
links to those videos so that we could include them in the show notes?
Sure, I will send you the link.
Yeah, once you send us the links, we are actually gonna publish a recap of this video with the recording and all the links. You will find them on the Open Mic, a blogging platform for translators that we use to share the recordings of these crowdcasts. And we're gonna publish it on Sunday or next Monday, depending on how busy we are.
So, is there anything you'd like to add? If we don't have any other questions, guys, if you want to ask anything else, you can ask. And at the moment. Is there anything you'd like to add to what's already been said today, Sheila?
So I really appreciate your invitation to be here today, because every opportunity I have to promote this wonderful tool, I really like to take advantage of, because it's not only good, and it's also investing in a philosophy that I believe that is the free software for everybody that needs and wants to use it. And so thank you for the opportunity, and I invite any of the people who are watching, if they want to get in touch with me, to, I don't know, if they have any doubts, or if they want some kind of presentation like this too, I can give in any other time, day, or format. I've even recorded videos and things like this. And I hope it helps OmegaT grow even more than it already has.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And actually, it's the second time you are on the show.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You are the first person who was twice on our show.
Yeah. last time we talked to you, we didn't cover this topic of OmegaT, and we just knew that we have to talk about it, because the philosophy behind the open source software is really great. And we actually managed to convince one person that OmegaT is as good as any other paid software. So I think you reached your goal. So I'd like to thank everyone who joined us tonight, or today, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you for watching us live. Thank you if you're watching a recording or listening to a recording. Thanks for listening or watching. You can check out our website at translatorsOnAir.com and subscribe to our mailing list to never miss another episode. And please don't forget to check out the website of our sponsor, another great cat tool, an online cat tool, SmartCat. Check out their website at smartcat.ai, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.